Good afternoon. I'm Barbara Bryan, a member of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Swannanoas Valley Board of Trustees. I'd like to welcome you to our virtual Christmas Eve service. If you're new to us and would like to receive our electronic communications, please contact our church administrator. Contact information is on our website at the link for visitors, uusv.org. That's uusv.org. Unitarian Universalist congregations affirm and promote 7 principles, which we hold as strong values and moral guides. We live out these principles within a living tradition of wisdom and spirituality, drawn from sources as diverse as science, poetry, scripture, and personal experience. Many of us have roots with personal experience in Christianity. So this afternoon, our music director, Annelinde Metzner, invites you to sing along as she performs carols for us. Our minister, Reverend Michael Carter, will inspire us with a message of hope. We wish you a safe, healthy holiday season, and let our service begin.
All right, good evening. This is our big service, if you will, of the year. This is our Christmas Eve service, and I'm happy to be here. We're just thinking last year we were meeting in this building. What a difference a year makes. But that doesn't take away from the spirit of what we want to do. And so I just want to take the time to welcome you to our Christmas Eve service. We are Unitarian Universalist. We do not have to think alike to love alike. We are a free, liberal religious community, and you are welcome here at any time. So if you like what you see and hear this Christmas Eve, please join us throughout the year. On this Christmas Eve night, 2020, what a year it's been. But we light our chalice. This kindled flame. No virus can stop this. And so the opening words for this lovely service, here they are, just to remind us why we come together. Holy and beautiful the custom which brings us together in the presence of the Most High, to face our ideals and to remember our loved ones in absence, to give thanks, to make confession, to offer forgiveness, to be enlightened, and to be strengthened. Through this quiet hour breathes the worship of ages, the cathedral music of history. And in that vein, 3 unseen guests attend: faith, hope, and love. Let all our hearts prepare them a place. We have a special treat for you on this Christmas Eve. Evan Yannick, Susan Hicks, Larry Perlman, and Aaron Spanhauer will be performing a Christmas pageant for us. And so let's give them our attention and our love.
The Light of Christmas, written by Richard Paul Evans, illustrated by Daniel Craig. High in the mountains, where the clouds lie on the ground like great cotton balls, is the Christmas town of Noel. Noel is surrounded by tall white city walls that sparkle in the sun, and a city gate of pure silver, striped like red candy sticks. In the center of the town is a square where a tall Christmas tree is decorated all year long. But even more important than the tree is the great brass Christmas torch next to it. For it is here, on Christmas Eve, that the keeper of the flame comes to light the torch, bringing the brightness and warmth of Christmas to the entire world. In the hills outside the town of Noel lived a small child and its mother. Every Christmas Eve, the child and the mother walked many miles to the town square to see the lighting of the flame. But the last few years it had been too difficult for the mother to make the long walk, and the child had to go alone. Only a week before Christmas, the child ran into their small cottage. "Have you heard, Mother? This year the keeper of the flame will choose someone new to light the torch." "Who will he choose?" "Whoever gives the truest gift of Christmas." Then the child frowned. "I wish that I had something special to give. I would like to light the Christmas torch." The mother put her arms around her child. "You are a good child. I could not be more proud of you if you were the keeper of the flame himself." Early on the morning of Christmas Eve, the child prepared for a trip to the town square. The mother put a loaf of bread, a chunk of cheese, and a jar of hot cider in the child's pack. Then she bundled the child up in an extra cloak as it was snowing outside. "Remember, my child, after the lighting of the flame, it will be late. You must spend the night at the town church. I will expect you back tomorrow afternoon." The child kissed the mother goodbye and started off on the long walk to Noel. After walking most of the day, the child could hear the bells of Noel ringing in the distance, calling the people to the square. Soon they would shut the city's great gate, and no one would be allowed inside during the lighting of the flame. The child walked faster. As the child neared the city gate, they noticed a small bundle of cloth in the snow.
"Someone has dropped their cloak."
Then the child saw that it was not just a cloak, but an old man. The child knelt next to the man, removing their gloves, and warmed the old man's face with warm hands. The man's eyes slowly opened. The child took hot cider from their pack.
"Here, drink this. It will warm you."
The man looked at the child.
Who are you? An angel?
"I am Alex."
The man smiled.
Thank you, Alex.
"I am too small to lift you, so I will go get help in the city."
And put an extra cloak around the old man. The child ran through the city gates to find someone to help, but no one would leave the square.
There's a man outside the gate who needs your help. Who needs help?
The gates are closing soon. We would miss the lighting.
Then the large gates did begin to close. The child looked at the beautiful tall Christmas tree and the great torch in the square, and then back at the gate. With all their heart, the child wanted to see the torch lit. But they could not leave the old man alone in the snow. The child slipped back out the gate just as it began to close. But as the child returned to where the old man had been, only the child's own cloak lay in the snow. The old man was gone. The child picked up their cloak and looked back at the city gates. They were locked, only to be opened when the lighting was done. Already it was getting dark, and it was too late to go home. The child sat down next to the gate to wait, wiping back tears. Then the child heard a creak. And realized with a great surprise, the gate opened just a crack. The child jumped up and quickly ran inside. The town square was crowded with excited people. The child climbed up to a small window ledge for a better view. Suddenly, from a building at the far side of the square, a large door opened, and a man dressed in a beautiful cloak lined with golden threads and precious jewels walked from the building. A deep hush fell over the crowd. The keeper of the flame had arrived. In one hand he held a wreath, the symbol of Christmas. In the other was a small flaming torch, with which the great torch would be lit.
Let the offerings begin.
The people of Noel lined up to give their gifts. As they laid their gifts beneath the tree, each loudly announced what they had brought. "I am Julio the minstrel," cried one. "My gift is a Christmas song, which will gladden the hearts of many." He played his song, then laid his pearwood lute beneath the tree. "I am Marco the writer," cried another. "I have written a great Christmas story which will be shared for many years to come." And he laid the book, bound in red and gold leather, beneath the tree. Then came the richest man in the city. "I am Rizzio the jeweler. I have made a golden ornament for the tree." The crowd clapped when they saw the ornament. It was of pure gold with red and green jewels, the colors of Christmas. Surely this was the best offering of the evening. After all the people had laid down their gifts, the keeper looked out into the crowd.
Are there any more offerings?
No one spoke. The child looked down, sad that they had nothing to give.
Well, then I shall choose the truest gift. You have given much, but only one of you has given well. Come, Alex. Come, child.
The child looked around to see whom the keeper had spoken to. The child had given no gift. Surely there was another. But the keeper looked right at the child and said, "Come, dear child." As they neared the square, the child recognized the keeper. He was the old man in the snow. The keeper put his hands on the child's shoulders and looked at the others.
You all passed me by tonight, lying in the snow outside the city gate. Only this child stopped to help me. In your hurry to remember Christmas, you have forgotten Christmas. The truest gift of Christmas is the gift of self. The flame of Christmas must first burn from within.
Then he handed the small torch to the child.
Light our Christmas, dear child. Light our Christmas.
The child touched the fire to the great brass torch, and it burst into a brilliant flame. And it was said, ever after that, never before had the flame burned so bright or so true.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank them when you see them. Send them an email. See them on Zoom. Thank them for everything that they do for us, not just tonight, but throughout our church year. Before we go into the first hymn, I just want to give a special thank you, a special shout out to the String Sisters, Marianne Vale, who I believe has a birthday today, this evening. She's born on Christmas Eve. And Carolyn Clark, They are the String Sisters. And I also want to thank all the talented artists who have lent their talents throughout the year for, our music. Music makes the service. And so we thank them. Marianne and Carolyn could not be here. They're in quarantine, and from what I understand, they're doing well. And so we keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Our opening hymn on this Christmas Eve night is hymn number 237. Hymn number 237, The First Noel. Our reading this evening, is number 621, of course, in the hymnal. And it's called, Why Not a Star? It's by Unitarian Universalist Margaret Gooding. They told me that when Jesus was born, a star appeared in the heavens above the place where the young child lay. It was a wonderful miracle, part of a long ago story foretelling an uncommon life. When I was older and I started believing in science and reason, I believed the story of the star explained. But the star explained became the star understood for Jesus and for Buddha. Why not a star? Some bright star shines somewhere in the heavens every time a child is born. Who knows what it may foretell? Who knows what uncommon life may yet again unfold if we but give it a chance? Our meditation and prayer this evening. Please open your hearts and minds, and as usual, we will have a time of quiet. I want to also echo what we've been saying. We have been very blessed to have the talent who puts our services together. I'm talking specifically about Evan, and Carolyn Shorkey is on board, and of course, our RE director, Susan. I mean, it's a group effort, right? It's a community effort. I've been hearing this past week about other churches who are dropping off their membership, people just losing interest because of COVID for whatever reasons, whether they're technologically challenged or they just don't want to attend a virtual service. I want to encourage you, as you've been doing, to keep supporting us with your time, with your energy, and with your resources. Don't give up on us. This will not last forever, and we will gather again in this space. But until then, hang in there with us. We need you, you need us, and we are grateful for your gifts of time and your resources. So, with that said, God of justice and peace, you go before us and we follow after on adventures. We leave behind the security of our homes and the cares of our labors, and being unsure of the outcome, naturally we feel a little afraid, a little excited, a little hopeful, and a little worried. We pack up a few necessities, courage being one of them, and most of all, and then we go. Yours is a word of promise. Something good will come of this, we are told, but there's no telling exactly what. We wonder, can I leave the security and the familiar of my life for the sake of an unknown gift, an unknown blessing, and still come together? Full of questions, I go, we go, and so do we all go. We go alone and we go together. Spirit of life of Christmas, Spirit of this season of hope, we leave behind all that holds us back from this great adventure, the risk of life. We risk for the sake of love. Our travels will come to an end. The cares of home and work, of birth and growth and death will one day reclaim our days. But the journey itself is without end. We are young and old together. When we are young, the gifts of courage and wisdom stand before us. When we are old, the promises of peace and new life and rebirth stand before us. Being now together, as families and members of the human family, may this Christmas season bring to us the blessings of all children, courage and adventure, love without guile or calculation, and may we revel in your justice and your peace. And now, for this brief but sacred moment while our minds are one, I leave you with the eloquence of silence. And so it is. Our next hymn is hymn number 259, We Three Kings. Hymn number 259. Okay, a testament of hope. I know some of you are applauding. This will only be about 10 minutes, and I'm happy too. Believe it or not, I do get tired of hearing myself talk. So, a testament of hope. The words that we hear over and over at this time of year is that Christmas time is a time of renewal. A renewal of what, you may be asking? And the answer for me is quite simple. of hope. First of all, let me distinguish between hope and optimism. Optimism is the belief that everything will be all right in the end. You know, it's kind of carefree. Everything will be all right. Do what you can, but don't really worry about it. Things will be all right. But now another way of perceiving this we call hope. Hope is the belief that we can somehow make things okay. I'm not saying, you've heard me say ad nauseum, that all we can do is what we can and we have to let it go. We have to trust. But we have to be intentional. And hope is about intentionality. Hope is the belief that we can affect the future by our own goodness. Our deeds, our thoughts, our kindness, our acts of compassion, we help determine and shape the future, our future, individually and collectively. Now, hope opens us up to a range of experience, and if the truth be told, these possibilities can be missed by the careless and the cynical. Every religion, every genuine spiritual path proposes a vision of what the world could be. In Buddhism, there is nirvana. In Christianity, there is the kingdom of God. Confucianism seeks the good society. How is all of this supposed to happen? Well, I'm glad you asked. Answers vary with each tradition, with each religion, but all agree that the first requirement is attitude. Our belief helps to accomplish the goal. What belief is that? It's the belief in hope. Hope is the precondition of any kind of ideal society, whether it's Dr. King's beloved community, whatever it is, you have to have hope. Hope is also related to faith because hope assumes a confidence in the powers of this universe, this multiverse, if you will, God, if you will. It is a trusting. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "This time, like all times, is a very good one, but if we but know what to do with it." Because opportunity is all around us. Now, there is something in all of us that says that the world can be better, and we want to know how we can be of assistance to make that world, to attain that world. Yes, it has been said, and there is truth to the statement, that hoping is not a process, but we know that. We know we just can't go willy-nilly out into the fields, and there is work to be done, and we know that. But we must have a vision. We are told that where there is no vision, the people perish. Oscar Wilde once said that a map of the world that does not include utopia is not worth glancing at. We cannot be bound to the past. To believe that we cannot improve is like dragging a ball and chain with us every step of the way. I have studied a lot of history, and I have seen a lot of things in my 63 summers on this planet, just as you have. My profession and calling has caused me to see the spiritual and the physical pain of people. And so I would not for one moment underestimate the range and extent of human suffering and misery. I don't want to downplay that. Christmas is the assertion that we are not without recourse. Christmas tells us there is hope, and in that hope lies a greater reality. When we get quiet, when we get still and become brutally honest, desperately honest with ourselves, we know that we can create a better world. It's as simple as that. Now, I love this quote. I was reading AARP magazine the other day. Please don't laugh at me. I know some of you get it. The author of The Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood, had this to say about what gives her hope. She says, I'm hopeful about young people. They're taking interest in the future of the planet. She says, I'm also hopeful about America at the time. Now remember, she's Canadian. She says, I'm hopeful about America at this time when many Americans are not. She says, because I don't think it's over for America yet. She says, I think that America is a diverse and ornery enough place that it would be very hard to get anybody to line up and do some kind of weird salute, even though the country has had a fascist undercurrent since the 1930s or so. She says, I'm counting on America's crankiness and orneriness to keep things from going too far in either extreme. Well, we shall see. But that's hope. The message of Christmas is hope. Life can be hard, and we all know tragedy, debility of age, heartache of lost opportunities, and we've all had the sadness of losing loved ones. The list goes on and on and on. It's endless as to human sorrow. Yet Christmas testifies to a testament of hope. No matter how difficult things get, there's always hope. Dr. King reminded us that we have to accept finite disappointment. We have to. But we can never lose infinite hope. In each of us, there is a heart that beats and is a source of spiritual strength. In each and every one of us. Hope is our affirmation that we can and will make things better. A person without hope is a person in spiritual poverty. And once we lose hope, all bets are off. Optimism is rooted sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it is rooted in sentimentalism and belief in the inevitability of progress. We are in the age of Aquarius. But that's just not that kind of harmony and this joint, efforts about peace and cooperation. We have to work for that. We can't just say, okay, well, astrologically it's here. It's just not going to happen. We have to work to make that happen. Hope is rooted in a redemptive realism. And if you will indulge me again, I will quote my spiritual mentor, Dr. Howard Thurman, who reminds us that the contradictions of life are never final, ever final. There may be some things that we need to sacrifice, but there are some things in life that must be sacrificed for. The poet Emily Dickinson writes, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without words and never stops at all. I choose to not only have a testament of hope, but I also choose to be a prisoner of hope as well. We owe it to the ancestors and all of those who have come before us and all of those who will come after to make of this planet not only a neighborhood, but a brother and sisterhood. This is my testament of hope. So there you have it. And I hope that you will continue to be willing prisoners along with me. And with that said, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry everything and a happy always. And stay healthy. At least try to. Amen. Ashe. And blessed be. Now, don't burn your homes down. And I'm not going to burn the church down, but our closing hymn is Silent Night. And I hope you have a chalice, a candle before you, but this is our tradition. We close our service with Silent Night, and so keep that light kindled within your hearts as we end our service. After this, we'll have some closing words, which I think it'll be a treat. So, hymn number 251, Silent Night. Okay. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. This is what I'm going to read to you and close with is adapted from "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." It's by Clement Clark Moore. It's called "The Night of Corona." "'Twas the night of Corona, when all through the world not a creature was staring as the nightmare unfurled. The face masks were missing, the gloves and the gowns. The nurses and doctors were all falling down. The children and old folks were scratching their heads to wonder what mayhem this virus could spread. Pa gathered his strength and Ma stuffed down her worries, pulled courage together to start their new journey. When throughout the world there arose such a clatter of singing and loving, and hearts were in tatters. We stood at our balconies, doorways, and windows to let out the love, Christians, Jews, Muslims, and Hindus. The moon lit the green of the fresh, budding spring, giving hope for rebirth we yearned it would bring. We opened our hearts and expanded our characters, knowing that our children would be the inheritors. The world just got smaller, but we're growing bigger. Our hearts and our souls demonstrate we're no quitters. Our heroes are healers, not killers of life, and many strong women in the thick of the strife. May all who draw breath see God in each other, embracing our weakness as sisters and brothers, stronger together. Merry Christmas.
so now I'll record the postlude, and that will be What Child Is This? And this will also be on the psaltery. And no introduction, so here we go. Happy birthday